Hey everybody. So here's where we left off last time. Hopefully today you have access to your palettes and palette papers. I just have a plastic palette at home. This is what I have. You're going to want your two blues, your two reds, your two yellows, your black and white, whatever you need. Last time what we did is we tried to focus on starting with our background, the things that are farthest away from us, and then moving towards the things that are closest to us. That's going to look like working from top to bottom on your painting, okay? You want to keep looking at your photo reference as you go. Remember, the most important thing isn't to capture every single line of cloud, but you're trying to mostly capture the colors that you see. Because remember, Impressionism is mostly about light and color and movement and that brushy texture. So I'm going to keep moving down on my painting. I'll move this part up out of the way, and I'm going to keep moving down. So for you, you are going to try to focus on, if you've already painted your sky, for example, whatever comes next. And, this, for example, is a hill, okay? In my mind, I know that a hill is green, but I'm trying to look directly at the color that I see on my photo reference, not necessarily what I know the color of that thing to be if I was standing right in front of it. Okay? So the color that I see right here is like a deep blue. And these are clouds, right? I know clouds are white, but that's not the color that I see there, okay? I see a lot of blue, and then right here, that color is actually kind of like a pale orangey, pinky coral color because it's got the sun reflecting off of them. It's kind of a dusty mauve, sort of a pinky yellow. It's got some warm tones in there too, okay? So I'm going to try to include those. The challenge is when you have things that are warm toned next to things that are cool toned, if you mix them all together, you just get a muddy color, which is what happened here earlier. So I'm going to have to cover that over a little bit. But some of them do actually mix in the sky, so it's okay. Okay. So I'm just going to keep working my way down. Obviously, this is going to look different for all of you, but a good safe bet is to start with a base of white, especially if you have any areas that are light colored on your painting, on your photo. You can always start with a base of white, and that will at least make sure that you're blending with something already on the canvas, and it'll make a nice color that's already there. So you're not just like brushing onto dry canvas. You're brushing onto white because that's it gives you a nice base to work with. And fun fact, if you ever watch any of Bob Ross's videos, that's the guy with the big fro who's got the really calm voice, and he says, the happy little trees and the happy little flowers. Some of you guys know exactly what I'm talking about, and some of you guys have just missed out, and I'm truly sorry, because Bob Ross is a treasure. So basically, that's what he does, is he starts with a liquid white, as he calls it, liquid white. But anyway, it's kind of a similar concept anyways. So for me, I'm just going to start, whoops, see, I think that's a little bit much, but I can always dab that back by brushing some of the white that's already on there, blending that in there. So there we go. That's what I'm looking for, a little bit of that blue, but it's kind of a little bit of purplish there, so I'll take a smidge of my white, my pink, golly, to make it more of a purple. That's what I'm trying to get at there, is that purpley color. See, if somebody were to just tell you paint a sunrise in winter, you would just think of typical sunrise colors, but there's a lot going on here, right? All right, I'm going to keep painting. You guys, please go ahead and start painting, and we'll check in with each other every once in a while. So for any of you guys who are doing mist or anything with fog in your paintings, the way that I've approached it with this is I've sort of painted whatever is behind the fog first into that white and sort of blended it in. And even if you don't have the white down, that's fine. You just paint the thing that's in the fog. Wherever the fog is, I'll go back and kind of do another layer so you can kind of see what I'm talking about. So here's my object that I'm painting, right? I painted it like behind the fog. I painted it down into where I thought it might end behind the fog, where I can see it blending in. Then, whoops, got a little distracted there. Let me add some more blue to that to make it a little bit more true to color what I see on my painting. Okay, and then after I get my object down, I go back in with some white for the fog, and I kind of have this below where it is, and I just blend that up into my object, kind of fading it in. So anytime you have fog, that's kind of the technique that you're going to use. There you go. So in some of your areas in your foreground or closer to your foreground, you're probably going to notice that there are areas with lighter spots and darker spots, like my trees here. Some of them, they're lighter as they get taller. You know, they as they get higher up, more of them are lit. The tops of them are lit, and the bottoms of them, the bases of the trees are not. And so I've got a choice. I have to somehow make that part of it look lighter. And so just to get that illusion, I'm just dabbing in some darker areas and some lighter areas. I'm not focused too much on trying to make it look exactly like the photo. As long as I'm trying to convey that sense of darkness and lightness, that's what I'm trying to go for. So the same goes for you. You don't have to focus on getting every little detail right. You're trying to get the overall sense, the overall feel of your scene with the lighting. Where's the light coming from? What kind of atmosphere is it? Where's the sun hitting? All those details, those are the things that you're focusing on. Okay? Also, here's a quick tip for people wanting to do branches. You can dip the side of a palette knife into the paint that you want, and you can kind of sketch your branches in with a palette knife. And that works kind of nicely. And then you can go back in with a brush and paint on whatever leaves you'd like to paint. You can also do this after you paint leaves. You can paint your leaves first and then go back in later and add the branch details afterwards. That also works just fine. It seems to give a sharper line than a brush would. You can also use your palette knife to add texture to flowers and things like that. If you're having a hard time brushing texture on anywhere you want, you can use a palette knife. The same way you would use a brush almost. It's just a little bit different because it kind of gives a more abstract feel, but it's definitely an option and something that I would consider worth looking into if you're looking to add more texture to your paintings. Also, don't forget, I know we talked about this last time, but don't forget to paint the edges of your paintings. And we paint the edges of our paintings to make them look a lot nicer when we hang them up. Because if you were to hang this painting on the wall as it is right now, all my edges are still white, and that's not very appealing. So we want to give it a nice finished look when we hang it on the wall. And even if you're not planning on taking this home and putting it on the wall right away, like, you never know where this painting's going to wind up. And if you give it a nice painted edges, that'll just mean that it's a lot easier to do whatever you want with it later. And I don't mean just paint it whatever color you want, just pick some random color and paint it. You should try to paint it similarly to how it's painted in that part of the picture. It doesn't have to be exact, but the closer you get it to the part of the painting that it's a part of, the better it is and the more continuous it looks. So you're trying to make it look like your painting actually warps around the side of your canvas, because your canvas wraps around the wooden frame of the canvas, and so you want your paint to do the same thing that your canvas is doing, if that makes sense. Okay, so I'm not sure where exactly we're at this point, but I do need to tell you guys about the next project. The next project is going to be an artist's choice kind of a thing, whereas you are going to choose the project that you're going to do based on an artist of your choice. And my wonderful substitutes have a list of artists for you to choose from. And I want you to put your name by the name of the artist of your choice. Some of them will probably be known to you. Some of them might be familiar sounding names. Some of them might not be. And if you're curious about what an artist might be, and you could talk to a neighbor, you could try to, look it up when you get home or something, but you do want to write down who you choose for your artist. That's important. So, because you're going to bring in next time, we're going to start on a new project, and next time you're going to bring in some source material to use as inspiration for our next artwork. So what that's going to look like is you'll bring in some printed photos of replications of that artist's work. Let's say you wanted to do, we studied some Impressionism. So if you chose one of the Impressionists, you remember some of those paintings that we saw in the PowerPoint, you might image search for some of that artist's work, for one of those artists' work, and go, yeah, I really like this artist's work. I'd like to do a painting inspired by their work. Cool. Well, come to class next time with imagery that will help you do your project. So the cool thing about this project, the really, really cool thing about it is we're not actually going to be painting on canvases. We are going to be painting on dishes. That's right, dishes. So I mean like cups, bowls, plates, vases, all kinds of things. Okay. So you're going to pick an artist. You're going to come up with some paintings in or sculpt, whatever, probably most likely paintings. You're going to come up with some artwork by that person that you're going to bring in next time to use as inspiration. And you'll bring that next time, print it off. If you, like, for some reason have zero access to a printer or something, I completely understand. Just please email me a photo that you would like printed, and I can help you with that. But that's what we're going to be doing next time, is you're going to be sketching on the thing that I bring for you. I'm going to get a whole bunch of dinnerware and I'm going to prime them with white or with some kind of a primer paint, and then you guys will sketch on them, and then you'll paint them. And it's going to be very, very cool. It's a really, really fun project, especially when they're all together at the showcase, because it kind of looks like somebody's having a dinner party at the showcase. It's really, really neat looking. So I need to make sure that you guys each sign up for an artist that you're going to want to study the work of during the week, and bring in some copies of their work so that you can use that to reference next time. Okay, that's all for now.